Welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Maybe you'd like to introduce yourself again?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's a pleasure and an extreme honor to represent Romania tonight. I'm Julia Scavo. Yes, I am, sir.
You'd like to come here?
Yes, please.
Voilà, like I am.
Here.
Et voilà. Perfect. This table would like to have a sake as an aperitif. Please find a suitable sake to serve them. Could you please motivate your choice and serve it to these two Japanese friends? You will have 2 minutes 30 seconds to complete this task. Can you repeat again? Yes.
Repeat it.
This table would like to have a sake as an aperitif. Please find a suitable sake to serve them. Could you please motivate your choice and serve it to these two Japanese friends? You will have 2 minutes 30 seconds to complete this task.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am. Gentlemen, good evening and welcome to our restaurant. I'm so glad to serve you tonight. It's the gentleman who is okay.
So the second candidate from Romania, Julia Scavo, is now by the task number 1, serving a sake. Make a recommendation. She chosen the same sake as Piotr.
Here you are. Okay, so I would like to introduce you to this Topfen, which is a Dumai sake. May I make you taste it? Okay, so I think it's a good
It chance to be a
beginning for
Junmai
your
style
meal,
of sake,
because it's a
unfortified.
Junmai, so a good polishing level for the rice. It's quite pure, and you will get small amuse-bouche with that, which is a canapé from some sea bass, like a sashimi, which is topped with a bit of yuzu foam. And I think it's a very light, enjoyable sake with some delicate flowers, tropical fruit aromas, getting a hint of citrus on the finish. It's enjoyable. The alcohol is not very high. It's quite easy to drink, and it will let your palate very clean to begin this enjoyable evening. Yeah, so and it's very light in alcohol. It's 10% of alcohol only. I think it's really smooth, and you're so welcome. You're welcome. Yes, sir. Yes.
You are in a fine dining restaurant in a Vienna hotel. This special dinner is offered by the members of the A.S.I board to their president, Shinya Tazeki-san, to pay tribute to his 6 years presidency. Could you please advise them with the best beverage and food pairing? They are all staying at the hotel as they want to enjoy the evening. They would like to have a beverage or wine from a different country for each course. You will have 5 minutes.
Could you please repeat?
Yes, of course. You are in a fine dining restaurant in a Vienna hotel. This special dinner is offered by the members of the A.S.I board to their president, Shinya Tazaki-san, to pay tribute to his 6 years presidency. Could you please advise them with the best beverage and food pairing? They are all staying at the hotel as they want to enjoy the evening. They would like to have a beverage or wine from a different country for each course. You will have 5 minutes and 20 seconds to study the menu. Are you ready?
I am, sir. Thank you.
20 seconds.
So Julia is now by the next task, making a recommendation of different beverages, not only the wine, and it must be from different countries. She's analyzing the menu.
Madam,
She's going to the guests.
Welcome to our restaurant, and I'm so glad to pay tribute to Shinya Tazaki-san for his 6 years mandate. As I can see, you've got already the waters, Aquapan and San Pellegrino. Know that we've got some national waters like the Forsloyer or Romerkveli, both in still and sparkling. And as a pre-dinner drink, I would have the pleasure to introduce you to a wonderful champagne, the Plenitude 2, the P2 from Dom Perignon, which is actually a great vintage 98, coming on its tertiary and really plain, rich dried flowers and spicy aromas. For this champagne, I would like to suggest you small canapé, which would be some marinated goose liver. We do a lot of goose liver in Austria and Hungary as well, tradition from Austro-Hungarian Empire. And this marinated raw liver would be served with some shiitake and a bit of dried flowers, comestible flowers, of course, eatable flowers, and spices. To go on for the trilogy ceviche, sea bream, salmon, and scallops, I would like to bring you to Austria because we are in Austria. And I would really like to go to Emmerich-Knoll in the Wachau region for a Grüner Veltliner coming from the Leubenberg, which is a very steep pant of about 70 degrees, just getting down on the Danube and having stony, very deep aromas, and of course a lot of ripeness, spiciness. And I think it's very smooth as well because you don't have that much acidity as a Riesling to really go well with this trilogy, very smooth of sea breams, scallops, and salmon. The Gambas Pariada, this sounds a bit Latin, so why not going to Spain? I really enjoy what Rafael Palacios does in the Val d'Ora region. It's a region that's getting up top quality wines that could be compared to some Puligny Montrachet, you know, from France. The Assortes is wonderful to go with this smooth and sweet gambas, a bit of spiciness too. And we're not very far from the Atlantic, you know, in the Galicia region they eat gambas and sea fish with all these beautiful wines, refreshing but smooth and having a lot of texture and mouthfeel as well. Let's go to the lamb tagine with prunes and glacé quince, grilled sesame, and sweet potato puree. I'll bring you to France this time, to Felin-Ségur. One of the most elegant Saint-Estèphe, in my opinion. It's not a cru classé, it's not a growth, but it's a really delicate Saint-Estèphe with a lot of dark fruit notes that will definitely go with prunes and also with the lamb tagine. The lamb tagine, we have sweet notes and very let's say, concentrated aromas of the flesh of lamb that smells like thyme, and Cabernet Sauvignon, which is the basis of Felin-Ségur, really goes with that. I will choose the 2009 vintage, which is ripe, which is spicy, which is really great for this sweet and salty dish with this sweet potatoes puree as well. And finally, for the, not finally, last but not least, we've got 30 months Parmigiano Reggiano, Gorgonzola, chestnut, and dry figs. Well, this moment I will go to something really typed. I will go to Marsala region, and I will choose for you Solera Stravecchia from Pellegrino, old Marsala, dried style, virginess, so no sugar. You won't have your palate full of sugar, and we perfectly go with this 36 months Parmigiano Reggiano and Gorgonzola as well, with chestnuts and figs. So we've got the same notes of dried fruit and spices inside. You wanted to say something, madam?
Good choice. I think it's a very good choice.
Yes,
we
madam.
also need another wine on the cheeses.
On the cheese, okay. Red or white wine? well, if you prefer red, it's a very classic pairing. I will go for a Douro wine. It's not a port, so there's no sugar inside. The Crisea from the Symingtons, and I will go for a 2011 vintage. It's very young. It feels like like a vintage port on the nose, but you don't have the sugar inside. Same grapes at the port, so it would definitely go with this dried fig chestnuts, the Gorgonzola, even with the Parmigiano, I think so. Yeah, I think that could be interesting to get above a Saint-Estèphe, maybe. Yeah, and then finishing on the Apfelstrudel, cinnamon ice cream. So this. Yeah.
I'm.
So Julia lose the time at the last course by the dessert, and
Yes, sir.
but she did it very well, and the explanations were great. So it was quite tough, and she's going now for the next part for the blind tasting.
Could you please make a full classical organoleptic description and identification of this wine? You will have 3 minutes. You like me to repeat?
Please, sir.
Yes. Could you please make a full classical organoleptic description and identification of this wine? You will have 3 minutes.
May I cleanse the palate first?
Yes, please do. Have some water.
Yes, sir.
You ready?
Yes, I am, sir. So the wine shows a deep garnet color, getting some tawny tinges on the rim. The wine has a medium plus viscosity, some thick tears coming on the glass. The wine looks developed in good condition. The nose is clean, pronounced, showing some reminiscence of some primary fruit, but it's dried fruit like prunes and black currants, dried black currants. Then comes secondary aromas coming from very mustard oak maturing with spices like cloves and nutmeg and a touch of vanilla still reminding of this maturing. And of course the tertiary notes that will prolong us in some undergrowth, some forest floor, a bit of truffles, a bit of mushrooms here, and some spices and bitter chocolate. The nose is definitely developing to fully developed. It looks intense and very complex and ripe as well. On the palate, the wine is dry. The tannins are still very firm, high level of tannins, but very well integrated, a high level of alcohol as well, medium plus to high level of alcohol, also very mustard. The acidity is medium plus to high. So this is a very balanced wine with a flavor profile which is really complex and very intense, like on the nose, with all this reminiscence from the fruit, which is dried and very candid, with some spices coming from the oak maturing, again very mustard, and you've got this tertiary notes lingering on the finish, going in on the growth, and a bit of truffle as well, some spices, a bit of morello cherry in brandy. The wine looks full-bodied. It is definitely developing, and the wine has a good intensity, complexity. This is, for me, a wine that comes from the Northern Hemisphere. I would go to Europe, and I think this is a blend mainly based on Cabernet Sauvignon. Coming from the Bordeaux region in France, I would go for the 2008 vintage, and I would place it in Saint-Julien. I would pair that with a crown rack of lamb served with some thyme on the top, and some potatoes, or some root vegetables just pan-seared with butter. Temperature should be of about 14 to 15 degrees. I would serve it in this glass of about 45 centiliter. Maybe a decanting for 45 minutes would be really good to really get out of this latent phase where all these tertiary aromas will come out, and maybe some profile of dried flowers and spices will also come out.
This table has ordered a bottle of Marcus Altenberger Blaufränkisch, but they would like it to have it decanted and served. This gentleman is the host. For this task, you will have 5 minutes.
Could you please repeat
Yes.
that, sir?
This table has ordered a bottle of Marcus Altenberger Blaufränkisch, but they would like it to have it decanted and served. This gentleman is the host. For this task, you will have 5 minutes. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. Madam, gentlemen, good evening and welcome. Please, madam. Madam. Sir. And for you, sir, excuse me. Thank you. So here you are, sir, the Leiterberg Blaufränkisch Marcus Altenburger 2011 vintage. It's
Thank you very much.
You're
It's
welcome,
okay.
sir. Good. Okay. Let's try a third one. Great. Huh. Thought it was like in the Zauberflöte, where the third element was really important, you know, from the Frankmasonry. Let's hope that the fourth will be there. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's see what can we do now. So the vintage is getting a bit developed. So we've got some sediments in the bottle, of course, maybe for a Blaufränkisch, a variety that has a full-bodied. So we'll try to decant it as smoothly as we can and serve it. Okay. May I taste it, sir? Seems quite good. Better in about 30 minutes after decanting.
Pardon me. We are
Yes, sir.
very excited to try this Blaufränkisch wine.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about this variety and perhaps compare it to some other known grapes and wines.
Okay, so Blaufränkisch, it's a specific grape. The origin should be from Franconia if we listen to the etymology. But it's typical from the Burgenland area. We're here in Leiterberg, the western part of the Burgenland, on mainly limestone and some primary rocks as well. Limestone's coming from the calcareous mountains. And just allow me to give the cork to the gentleman. Here you are. And make you taste it. So this has no actual defined parentage, but this wine can be compared, let's say, to a complete grape with high acidity, spiciness.
It's okay.
It's okay? You can have it in the in all the Central European space. It's actually one of the parents of Zweigelt, made by Professor Zweigelt in 1922. And to be honest, to compare it, I will go to, let's say, countries like Italy. You can have something similar in the Alps in Italy, like the Lagrein or Torreldego, in the Torreldego Rotagliano area. I think, yeah, with deep tannins, with beautiful acidity, some spiciness. There's no actually connection to these grapes, but it can be compared if you like this kind of wines. Just if you allow me to.
Time.
Okay.
In front of you, there are 3 pairs of beverages. Each pair is based on the same ingredient. Could you please find the common ingredient for each pair, type of beverage, the origin, and if possible, the brand? You will have 3 minutes.
Could you please repeat the task?
Of course. In front of you, there are 3 pairs of beverages. Each pair is based on the same ingredient. Could you please find the common ingredient for each pair, the type of beverage, the origin, and if possible, the brand? You will have 3 minutes.
Could I cleanse my palate before?
By all means.
Sorry. Yeah, we'll go on.
Yeah.
Okay. And number 6, it's in the style of a Pommeau, but I think it's the Austrian Mostello wine 2007 from Fahrthof. So it's a like a fortified wine, but made with fruits. This number 3, it's a Scotch whiskey, which is peated. Number 5. Number 5 is also a cereal spirit. But it's not peated, so number 3 is Scotland whiskey. Number 4, there is absinthe or other Kräutigen herbs from the Alps. Yeah, number 2, it's a wine. It must be a Trockenbeeren aus Lese from Neusiedlsee, maybe. So since the origin of the other is close to a wine, even though it's not a wine, I will pair them together, and I will. So I think the common element of these two is that they are liquors. And this is a liquor made with herbs. No, number 1 is not a liquor. Now it's Mostello with a pair, 6 and 5, 1 and 3 because they're made of cereal. This is a white spirit of cereal. And number 2, a Trockenbeeren aus Lese. It won't match. It really won't match.
I'm
Okay.
In front of you, you have 4 sweet wines. Could you please identify the country of origin, the region, the grape variety or varieties, the type of wine, the vintage? You don't need to describe the wine. You will have 4 minutes.
Could you please repeat
Yes.
that, sir?
In front of you, you have 4 sweet wines. Could you please identify the country of origin, the region, the grape variety or varieties, the type of wine, the vintage? You don't need to describe the wines. You will have 4 minutes.
I will again, if you allow me, just.
Of course. If you want to take a few seconds before you...
5 seconds just to release my palate from the alcohol. Yeah, let's go for it.
You ready?
Yeah, thank you. Number 4 for me should be a Sauternes wine from France, a vintage like 2010, quite ripe but fresh as well, with some saffron notes and is coming on the tertiary. And number 1. Number 1 could be Tokai wine, late harvest, a mix of Fourment Harchevello and not Muscatel, I won't say that, and I think vintage quite young, 2011, let's say. Number 2 is maybe Auslese of Grüne Veltliner, coming, I don't know, I would place it in Niederösterreich, and yeah, should be Niederösterreich, 2013. And number 3, Rooster Pinot Cuvée, mainly from Pinot Chardonnay, Pinot Blanc Chardonnay, 2012 vintage. Common point should be that there is botrytis in this wine at certain stages and levels. Practically none or very few on the first, and going in rising sense to the 4th wine, which is completely botrytis. And as I presume 3rd one should be a Rooster wine. There is some botrytis in the grapes that are mixed in the juice of the wine.
No. You still have 20 seconds. So please, if you need them, you can take them. It was a mistake in the... So if you need 20 more seconds, your time wasn't finished.
Yeah, temperature for me, it's all right. The glasses are all right, and they are very digest.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
You will be presented with a wine list here.
Yes.
Where are you more comfortable? Here or where would you like to
Maybe
be?
here, but I don't want to turn my back to you. No, are you sure? No, it's just not... okay.
Comfortable for you like that?
Yeah, it is okay.
Okay. So, do not start, please. Instruction. You will have 8 slides with 3 wines per slide. On each slide, there will be 1 mistake. Please spot the error and correct it. You will have 30 seconds for each slide.
Could you please repeat?
Yes, of course. You will have 8 slides with 3 wines per slide. On each slide, there will be 1 mistake.
Okay.
Please spot the error and correct it. You will have 30 seconds for each slide.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am. Bridgeview Estate, Blanc de Blanc, Brut, non-vintage England, Ferrari Brut, non-vintage Lombardia, Italy. Ferrari is not from Lombardia, it's Trento. They're making Trento DOC, Martin Chandon, Grand Vintage, Rosé 2008, Champagne France, it's already on the market. Ridgeview Estate, Blanc de Blanc, Brut non-vintage England. Yeah, I go for the Ferrari Brut non-vintage, Lombardia, Italy, and it's not Lombardia. Klein Constantia, Sauvignon Blanc 2016, Constantia, South Africa. Clos Henry, Sauvignon Blanc 2006, Marlborough, New Zealand, it's okay. Dagenot, Les Jardins de Babylon is not Pouilly-Fumé, it's a Jurançon. Yeah, it's a Jurançon actually, very prized Jurançon. 2015, yeah. That's for me the error. Not Pouilly-Fumé. It does Pouilly-Fumé, but it's not the one. Sadi Family, Columella, 2014, Scotland, South Africa. Vigna de Martino, Quebrada Secca, Chardonnay, Valle del Limari, Chile. France, Herzberg, Honeyvogel, Smaragd, Grüne Veltliner. Yes, he does, Honeyvogel, he's the only one. Sadi Family, Swartland. They do wines in Swartland, Sadi Family, but Columella, it's not a Swartland. Yeah, that should be the mistake. It's not a good district. De Martino. Felton Road, Bannockburn, Chardonnay 2015. It's not Marlborough, it's Central Otago, and they do Bannonburg. Colin Kevin John, Chardonnay, Margaret River, Australia. Okay, Sonoma Qatar, Sonoma Coast, Chardonnay 2015. California, USA. Now, for me, it's Felton Road. They do Bannockburn, but it's not Marlborough, it's Central Otago, southernmost region of the world. Barboursville, Cabernet Sauvignon Reserve, 2013, Virginia, USA. Aoyun Cabernet Sauvignon, Yunnan, China. Chateau Musa, 2010, should be on the market if it's the red and the colors. Aoyun Cabernet Sauvignon, 2011, Yannun. Barboursville, Cabernet Sauvignon Reserve, 2013, Virginia. I pass Noemia, Malbec, Mendoza. It's not Mendoza, Noemia, it's in the Patagonian region. Ridge, Montebello, Cabernet Sauvignon, Santa Cruz Mountains. It's okay, they're in the Santa Cruz. Concha y Toro, Don Melchor. Maipo, it's okay, they're in the suburbs, outskirts of the Chilean capital, which is the region of Maipo. So it's Noemia, which comes from Patagonia. It's not Mendoza for me. 2013, one of the most prized wines from this southernmost region in their country. Hardest, the Dad Arm, Shiraz, McLaren Vale, South Australia. This is Clos Mogador, 2010, Priorat, Catalonia, it's okay. Cartuccia, Pera, Manca, Tinto, Alentejo. Portugal, it's hardy, it's not hardy, it's D'Arenberg, the dead arm. Could be Shiraz, of course, they do Shiraz, 2008. They are in South Australia. Yeah, okay. No, they didn't want to vintage 2012 actually. This number Tokai are those 5 tons. 2009, that's on the market. There's still the 2007, that's not the 89, should be gorgeous.
Bravo. You enjoy it?
Yes.